It was a cold, gray morning on the outskirts of a small American town called Ridgefield. The wind carried the faint rumble of motorcycles long before they appeared on the horizon. The Hells Angels, 6 rugged men dressed in leather and denim, were on their weekly ride through the backroads, clearing their heads from the noise of city life. Their leader, known as Red, a broad-shouldered man with fiery hair and a scar running across his cheek, led the group. The world had painted them as rebels, outlaws, troublemakers, but those who truly knew them understood that they had their own code of honor. As the group approached an old dumping ground near the edge of town, something unusual caught Red's eye. A rusty blue pickup truck was parked at the site, and a man was standing by it, yelling angrily. Then, with a violent motion, he shoved something, or rather, someone, out of the truck bed. A small, frail figure fell into the dirt. The bikers slowed down, their engines rumbling like thunder. Red raised a gloved hand, signaling everyone to stop. Dust swirled in the air as the engines quieted. What they saw made their stomachs twist. A gray-haired elderly woman, trembling and covered in bruises, was struggling to sit up among torn trash bags. Her voice, cracked with fear, broke the silence. "Please, Michael, I'm your mother." The man turned, his face twisted with irritation. "You're nothing but a burden," he spat. "You should have stayed in that nursing home." He kicked at a plastic bag beside her and began walking back to his truck. Red's jaw clenched. His men exchanged looks. They'd seen a lot in their lives. Violence, greed, betrayal, but nothing cut deeper than seeing someone harm their own blood. Red revved his bike once, the sound booming like a warning shot. The man froze. The Hells Angels dismounted, boots hitting the ground in unison. Their leather vests bore the unmistakable skull and wings patch, the symbol that demanded both fear and respect. "Hey," Red called out, his voice deep and steady. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" The man's eyes flickered nervously. "It's none of your business," he snapped. "She's my mother. I'll handle her how I want." Red stepped closer, his shadow falling across the man. "When you throw your own mother away like garbage," he said coldly, "you make it our business." The air grew tense. The other bikers stood like statues, watching for Red's signal. The elderly woman looked up at them, tears streaking through the dirt on her face. "Please," she whispered, "don't fight. Just help me." Red's expression softened. He removed his jacket and gently draped it over her shoulders. "Ma'am," he said, kneeling beside her, "no one's ever gonna hurt you again." Then he turned back to the man, his fiery eyes burning with rage barely contained. "Get in your truck," he said, his tone sharp as steel. "And pray the law gets to you before we do." The man hesitated, but one look at the gang of bikers convinced him otherwise. Tires screeched as he sped off, leaving behind a cloud of dust and the echo of his cowardice. As silence returned, Red helped the old woman stand. "We got you now," he said softly. "You're safe." That day, the Hells Angels didn't just ride through Ridgefield, they rode into a story that would remind the town what real strength and loyalty looked like. The following morning, the town of Ridgefield woke up to whispers, rumors spreading about the Hells Angels rescuing an old woman from her abusive son. At the biker clubhouse, a converted warehouse on the edge of town, Red and his crew sat around a wooden table. The elderly woman, named Evelyn Harper, sat wrapped in a warm blanket, sipping coffee that one of the bikers, Snake, had made. Her wrinkled hands trembled slightly as she looked around the room, her eyes filled with both fear and gratitude. "You boys didn't have to help me," she said softly. "You don't even know me." Red leaned forward, his tone gentle but firm. "You didn't deserve what happened out there. Nobody does. And we don't stand by when someone needs help." Evelyn took a shaky breath. "My son. He wasn't always like that. After his father died, he changed. Got into gambling, drinking. Took my savings, sold my house, and when I asked him to stop, he threw me away like trash." The bikers exchanged silent, angry glances. They'd all seen the damage greed could do, but hearing it from her made it personal. "Don't worry," Red said. "We'll make sure he pays for this. The right way." He made a few phone calls. To a local sheriff who owed him a favor, to a lawyer who often helped veterans and the poor. Within hours, the story had reached the authorities. Evelyn's son, Michael, was arrested for elder abuse, theft, and assault. But that wasn't enough for the Angels. Red wanted Evelyn to feel truly safe again. That afternoon, They rode together to the site of her old house, now sold to a property flipper who was about to tear it down. Red negotiated with him directly, offering to pay off the remaining balance using the club's emergency fund. The man, intimidated by 6 massive bikers staring him down, quickly agreed. By sunset, Evelyn stood before her old home, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I never thought I'd see this place again," she whispered. "Home's yours again, ma'am," Red said, handing her the keys. "We cleaned up the paperwork and fixed the damage that man did." Over the next few days, the angels helped repair the broken porch, painted the walls, and filled her pantry with food. The neighbors, initially wary of the bikers, started waving and even bringing over pies and coffee. The once feared Hell's Angels had become local heroes. On the last evening, as they prepared to leave, Evelyn hugged Red tightly. "I thought angels only existed in heaven," she said, smiling. "But maybe some just ride motorcycles." Red chuckled, his rough voice softening. "We're no saints, ma'am. But we do what's right when the world forgets how." As the engines roared to life, the sun dipped below the hills, painting the sky gold and crimson. Evelyn watched them disappear down the road, her heart lighter than it had been in years. And somewhere between the roar of engines and the whisper of the wind, justice had found its way home, delivered not by men in suits, but by leather-clad angels on steel wings.